Hello my wonderful friends, how are we? If you are new to my channel, my name is Sarsana. Welcome. In today's video, we are going to be talking about some dark romance books that I absolutely adore or had such a wonderful time reading, and I want to share those recommendations with you guys in case you are on the hunt for a dark romance book. So first we are going to be talking about a series that got me into reading dark romances. This series was not as dark as some of the other books that I will be recommending. There are some aspects of these books that can be triggering, but I wouldn't say that they're as dark as the other books that I'm going to be recommending to you guys. So the first series or books that I'm going to recommend is the entire Never After series by Emily McIntyre. She is the queen of this series. You guys, these are all Disney retellings. So let's go through these. So the first book we have here is Hooked. This is a Peter Pan retelling. This book is about James. He's out for revenge, and Wendy, she is a part of a wealthy family. When James goes to use her for his revenge plot, things kind of go in a different direction, and you can imagine what happens, and it's just so good. Next we have Scarred. This is a Lion King retelling. This is told in like a historical setting. We have Prince Tristan Fasa. His older brother is Michael. Michael is supposed to get the throne, but Tristan is traumatized by his older brother. He basically got beat up. He has like a scar on his face, which is why Scarred, and he has a scar on his face, and it's just such a great reflection on the actual story. So we have a little bit of sibling rivalry between the two, and then comes Lady Sarah Beatrix, and she is to wed Michael, the older brother. But little does everybody know, little Lady Sarah Beatrix is out to marry the king and then end his life and end the family line. That is her goal and her sole purpose for this plot. Then she comes to understand that Tristan is actually out for the same thing. He is looking for a way to kill his brother and take his throne. And talk about the romance in this book and the similar goals aligning, and it's just so good. It was so fun. Again, a fast read. There wasn't really much of a trigger warning on my end, but please do check the trigger warnings if you need to. The only thing that I would say is a little bit of violence that's in it, but it was just so fun. And then we have Wretched. This is a Wizard of Oz retelling. Evelina and Nicholas, they have a one-night stand at a nightclub. Evelina is a part of this drug lord family. She is the brains in this family. She is making the drugs for her family's drug empire. Nicholas is out looking for her family and the person that is making the drugs. He is a DEA agent. When they see each other again after their one-night stand, there's kind of like a uh-oh moment. Evelina is like not really trusting of him, and he's like, oh shit, she's gonna blow my cover kind of thing. And she's just such a badass. I absolutely love Evelina. There were some parts of this book that was like a little bit cringy. This is not my top favorite of the series. However, the way this book ended, the way their connection built, and the way Evelina chose right from wrong, and her character development was absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed this. I would definitely recommend it. If you're going to read this series, please don't skip this one. It is definitely worth the read. Next we have Twisted. This is a Aladdin retelling. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love Aladdin. Aladdin has been like my favorite as a Desi girl because I can relate to them so well, and I grew up pretending to be Jasmine. Having a Aladdin inspired dark romance was absolutely everything for me. This book is about Yasmin and Julian. Yasmin is basically our Jasmine and Julian is our Jafar. Yasmin in this book, she actually is in love with a street rat basically. He's not very relevant. Yasmin's father, he gets ill. One of his wishes before he passes is for her to get married and be happy. What she does is she strikes a deal with Julian, and Julian is like her father's right-hand guy. She's like, hey, let's, you know, get married or pretend to get married and then we'll get divorced or whatever. Afterwards, you know, like you get what you get and I get what I get. I get my freedom. My dad gets to be happy. I get to marry the man I love. He has a ulterior motive in helping her out. At the beginning, he's kind of like, I'm helping you out of the goodness of my heart. But in reality, he wants to be on top of the world. He wants to be a powerful, rich man. There is a little bit of background that goes into his reasoning for why. This was done super well because we see how a villain becomes a villain. We love morally gray men. This was super good. I definitely recommend giving this a read. And then next we have Crossed. And this is a Notre Dame retelling, and there's a love story between Cade and Amaya. Cade is a priest. I know, he is a priest, and Amaya is a dancer. She like gives lap dances and like private dances and stuff like that. Cade goes in there and he gets a lap dance from her, I think. It's been a while since I read this, so forgive me if I'm forgetting the details here. I remember that the forbidden love aspect of this book was so delicious. I felt like I needed to douse myself with holy water after I read this book. Amaya is just trying to get by and Cade is trying to hold on to his faith, but their attraction just like draws them to each other. And yeah, things happen, you guys. Things happen in this book. I don't typically read books with forbidden romances where it is a religious figure and an individual, but this book I would definitely recommend. You know, just hold on to your faith while you're reading this. And then we have Hex. This is the last book in the Never After series. I have not read this book yet because I don't want it to end. This literally came out last year and I bought it on release day because I wanted to read it so badly, but I haven't been able to get myself to read it. But yes, I would still recommend it because this series is everything to me, and I'm sure that this book is going to be impeccable. It's going to be immensely enjoyable. It is going to be delectable and delightful, and I am really looking forward to reading this, but I would recommend it regardless. I feel like this is going to be one of Emily McIntyre's best work because she did write this book while she was going through her cancer treatment, and every single word on each of these pages is written with love and so much emotion. I'm terrified to read it, but I am also overjoyed that I have this in my hands. The next book I'm going to recommend is Her Soul to Take. This is a part of the Souls trilogy, I believe. Yeah, this is a part of the Souls trilogy by Harley LaRue. This is my first Harley LaRue book and I really enjoyed it. I like tabbed the hell out of this book because I felt like I was really going to enjoy it, and I did. It was so much fun. This is about a demon. His name is Leon, and this is about a human girl. Her name is Ray. She believes in the supernatural, and when she comes face to face with supernatural beings in real life, she realizes how dark it can really be. She has like a YouTube channel where she records supernatural findings and stuff like that, and that's kind of her bread and butter while she is a student. I've also mentioned this in like my prior vlog where I did read this book. Leon has like a forked tongue, so he has like, you know, like split tongue, and can you imagine? I'll just let you, you know, imagine, go ahead. Leon was owned by this cult that controlled him and made him do things that he didn't really want to do. Now that same cult is after Ray, and he will do anything to protect her. He literally makes her tea and cookies, and he's just like such a nice demon. This was definitely a lot of fun. And then I will recommend all the books that I've read so far by H.T. Carlton. So first, let's talk about The Cat and Mouse Duet. This series woke something very dark in me. The first book Haunting Adeline is simply about Zaid and Adeline falling in love. So Zaid is a tech genius. He owns a company where it is tech savvy and he writes software, and he basically stalks Adeline after she moves into her, I think her grandma's house or her aunt's house or something like that. He literally goes to her house and stands outside and just like watches her. It's so creepy, but at the same time very intriguing. Like, who is this broody dark guy just standing outside my door? Like, if someone was doing that in real life with me, I would call the fucking cops, you know what I mean? But it's a fictional book, so, you know, all is fair. And this man, he literally stalks her with technology. He puts cameras in her house. He watches her day to day. And when she brings a man into her home and they do intimate things, that man ends up and his hands are cut off and gifted to Adeline. Zaid tells her, if any man ever touches you, this is basically what is going to happen to them. She's scared shitless because he had threatened her before, but she didn't really listen, and now she's listening. The spicy scenes are so graphic and so intense. It is very spicy. Just go into it knowing this. There is a gun scene where it is sexualized, and yeah, it is very, very freaky. Okay, like they get real freaky. And then we have Hunting Adeline. This is the second book in the series. This book goes over human trafficking. There is on-page essay. There is a lot of graphic brutality. There is sexualized scenes that will probably make you want to lose your lunch, but at the end of the day, it is like it's basically like the first half of the book. So just go into it knowing those kinds of scenes are going to be playing out throughout the first half of the book. But if you can get through that, I promise you, it like the rest of it is very rewarding, and it shows us how resilient survivors can be, and how human trafficking is an actual thing, and what some people may suffer when they go through such a disgusting ordeal, such a disgusting chapter in their life. And a lot of people don't make it out, but some people do, and we get to learn about their experiences, which I find as a woman invaluable, because we always have to watch our back. And I felt very empowered reading this book. I don't know if I can ever get myself to reread this book because it was extremely triggering for me, and it just made me super emotional. Like, I think I sobbed through the first half of this book and the rest of it as well. Zaid, the way he takes care of Adeline in this book, and he gives her some of his power, he gives her some of his confidence, and he builds her back up. It was absolutely beautiful. I love their love. This series will literally bring out emotions in you that you may not want to face. And then within the same world, we have Satan's Affair. I would read this book before reading Cat and Mouse Duet because it introduces you to Sibby, who we do meet in the Cat and Mouse Duet. Without reading this book first, you're going to be a little confused, like, who is this person? Like, why are they being thrown in here? You're not going to really understand her. So I do recommend reading this first. I can't tell you too much about this book besides for the fact that this is a set in like a cult setting, like most of the book. How Sibby survives, how she is impacted for the rest of her life from the events that occur in this book. And then next we have Where's Molly? This is also about a character that we read about here in Hunting Adeline. This is the second book. This character, we get to see her after the events that occur in her life. She had a shitty past. Then she went through a lot of the same things that Adeline had gone through from the Cat and Mouse Duet. She surpassed it. What happens after you surpass an ordeal like that? What happens to a person after you are the survivor? And she takes a different turn in her life, and I empower her for the way she has survived. I really love how she became the powerful woman that she is. I really loved seeing her growth, seeing her heal. This book I would probably read after reading Satan's Affair and the Cat cat and mouse duet because this book will help you heal. And then next we have Does It Hurt? This is not in the cat and mouse duet. It is a completely different book. This book is about Enzo and Sawyer. Sawyer has a troublesome life and she decides to run away from that life. In order for her to survive, she has to take people's identities in order to survive. And one day she meets Enzo. She steals from him. And Enzo, he's the wrong man to steal from. Sawyer ends up getting railed on a boat by Enzo with a cut on her lip and her head shoved underwater in shark infested water, okay? Let that image do what it will for you. They end up shipwrecked and there's a lot of dark, eerie stuff that happens after they get shipwrecked, but it's also really fun to see their connection strengthen, them become a team in order to survive. I enjoyed that portion of it so much more than the first half. This was a fun read. I definitely would recommend it. I can't go into a video recommending dark romances to you guys without recommending the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. You guys, this is a 5-book bind up, and if you haven't read this yet, what are you doing? Like, if you love dark romances, you need to read this. Obviously, go into it reading the trigger warnings because there are very graphic triggers that may affect you. There's like on-page essay, very graphic, very detailed, very brutal. There is also a lot of violence, like gory violence that we read about, and it is also very graphic and specific. But at the same time, it shows us how a survivor can be so resilient, so strong. Like Lana Myers is one of my absolute favorite FMCs. She is the epitome of strength and survival. Everything that she has gone through, everything she does in this book, it totally makes sense as you continue reading the story. This is also a love story. It's not just like a murder mystery kind of thing. There's definitely a mystery aspect of it, but there is a strong romance connection as well. The romance is between Logan and Lana. Logan is actually the officer in charge of trying to find out who this serial killer is. Come to find out, it is his girlfriend. And you guys, the way she goes about trying to protect him from all of this, you guys just need to read this. This is a Infinity Star dark romance book. It is so good, and I'm so sad that I won't be reading anything else by St. Abbey. I think there are some like other pen names that St. Abbey went by, so I will have to hunt down the rest of the books that she has written. But you guys, this book was so good. I still think about this book like every day. Like next to Throne of Glass, this is the other book that I will always think about. And then a recent fave is the L.O.R.D series. This series is an interconnected romance, and it is about these college students that are trying to become members of the secret society titled the L.O.R.D s. In order for them to become members of the secret society, they have to do a lot of unaliving and a lot of like sketchy illegal things. In doing so and becoming a member of the L.O.R.D society, they get unlimited power. Like they become very powerful beings in the country, maybe even the world. I don't remember. They become immensely powerful. They have a lot of pull within governments and everywhere else. While they're in college, they have to do these crazy things. In their senior year, they get the chosen one, and this chosen one is a girl that is basically their property, and they can do whatever they want to, like sexually to them. But there's a lot more to it. I know that like for my feminists, this probably sounds like, what the fuck are you offering to me right now? What are you recommending to me? But there's a lot that goes into it, trust me. There is definitely a lot of spicy scenes, but there is a lot of dark political intrigue and like secret society mysteries that get solved, and there's a lot of things that happen in here that makes the plot so rich. The books are super fast paced. There's a lot that goes on, and yes, the spice is definitely like a lot, and some of it I had to like skim through because if you know me, I don't read books for the spice of it. I could not really care less. It is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of like deep, meaningful connections. The friendships in this series is also very deep and meaningful. There is a lot of depth in our characters and our plot, and it was it was really good. Alright, my friends, that is all of the dark romance recommendations I have for you for today. If you have read any dark romance books that you think that I would enjoy, please go ahead and comment that down below. I am looking to expand my dark romance reads. I would also love to know what are some of your dark romance favorite reads are. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.